Yeah, the environment is certainly one of the characters in the show. It's so beautifully shot, and even being in transport, going to set, going to High River or something, and you're just looking at the window and getting really lost in the scenery, and being able to see forever. Just a really beautiful place to shoot, and they're a great family. They really are a family. I was very worried when I shot my first scene with them, because it was a kitchen table scene, so where the whole family comes together. So I knew Michelle Morgan. I did a movie with Michelle before. Michelle plays Lou on Heartland, and so when I got cast, she sent me a note saying, "Hey Pete, congratulations! Looking forward to seeing you on set." But I come on as this guy who has this history with Tim, one of the main characters, and I sit down at the dining room or the kitchen table and go through this whole spiel, and I really run my mouth off during this first time meeting all these people sitting at the table. And I mean, they know each other so well, they know the process so well. We were on the studio lot, and the AD said to me, "Okay, they're waiting for you on set. Go ahead." And I walked over to a building. I'm like, where's the door? Like, how do I don't even, so they had to show me where the door was. And then you're, this in this great big dark warehouse. I'm like, someone's going to have to bring me to set here. I have no idea. It's a massive warehouse. And I get there and I thought, boy, I have to fake every ounce of confidence right now as I step on set. And I've got to be, when I walk through the door, I cannot be Pete Dillon waiting to see where I fit in. I've got to show them that I'm Mike McCluskey and I do fit in. And so I took a step to the door and I said, "Hey, everybody, I'm here." And luckily, Michelle jumped up right away and said, "Pete," and broke the ice right there. But I just thought this would be a terrible way to kind of be meek and sit back and wait for the show to come to me. I think I would have lost a lot of energy and a lot of confidence in the entire thing, and in myself, actually. So
yeah, that's a very intelligent insight to be able to recognize like that. Oh, actor thoughts are affecting character thoughts here, and I can't let my human actor anxieties in this moment affect the real moment that we're actually supposed to be shooting. That's really
sorry, I think sometimes, or oftentimes, actors get caught up in the actors that they're working with, and they research them and they know all about them, and they psych themselves out. It's so easy to get lost in who you're working with. I try to do very little research on the people that I'm working with. I consider that their characters. 24 years ago, I did The Bone Collector, and I met, Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington, and I had a very, very small role. But as we were standing around the first day, we were in the studio in Montreal, in what was Denzel's character's loft. And we're walking around, and he's in a hospital bed, and people are milling about. And some of the actors I was working with were staring at him, just gobsmacked. And I wasn't paying any attention to him. And walking around, and it was because I wasn't paying any attention to him, just doing my thing, that I actually got into a conversation with him. And he said, "Come on over here." And he was lying there in the bed, and he had been given photos, actual crime scene photos of this guy who had killed himself in Central Park. One of the consultants on this set, I believe his name was Hal Sherman, was a real New York police officer, and he had these photos, and Denzel Washington wanted to see these photos. So he's flipping through them, and he says, "Hey, did you see these?" And everyone stopped and looked over, and they saw that he was talking to me, and I actually didn't believe that he was talking to me. I'm like, huh? I think it was even better, because I really didn't care if he was talking to me. And he goes, "No, come here." And I basically nudged up on the bed beside him, and we were looking at these photos, and the actors are going by going, "What the hell? What?" And it was just because it wasn't paying any special attention to him. So, but it was a great experience many years ago. But I just don't focus on who I'm working with.
A heartwarming moment with Denzel looking at murder pictures.
Yeah.
No other way to spend a magical afternoon, huh?
Well, Peter, you've preemptively answered our next question, but maybe we go a little deeper, or you can add another one. Normally, we're asking about unforgettable on-set experiences. I know you've got Heartland. You just mentioned that one. Is there any others that you want to share?
Heartland is probably certainly one of my favorites. It's such a great experience, and it's a great story and really great actors. But I've been blessed to work with a lot of different folks and different environments. I shot an episode of Nikita in Hamilton one night, and I was scheduled to shoot a project called MMA Super 8 in Montreal the next morning. They had to move the schedule around, and then we had freezing rain. And so the producers were trying to get me to Montreal, and they had a Johnny Hendricks, I believe his name was, a MMA fighter who was a champ fighter on set waiting to shoot at the Bell Center the next day. So I was dealing with Maggie Q one night with where she punches me in the head and flips me over with a gun in her hand, and then being taken very quickly and driven through the night to Montreal to get there by 8 o'clock in the morning to shoot that project. So I've had a lot of really good, fun experiences working with a lot of great actors. I've been blessed. Some actors are not as gracious as others. They're kind of into their own process, maybe a bit too deep. But there's been a lot of great chances to sit and talk and feel like you're part of the family. But again, especially with Heartland, I got to say Heartland is certainly one of my faves for sure.
Can you share just a few on-set tips? Like if you were to put together the Pete Dillon's on-set success list, just a few of what you would say?
Yeah, first off, I would say be the greatest person that anybody has ever worked with, and I don't mean greatest actor, as greatest person. Be the nicest, the kindest, the friendliest, the loveliest. Leave the set better than you arrived. So, and be memorable for all the right reasons, and be forgiving when you are dealing with actors who perhaps don't have as good a grasp on their material as perhaps you do, or perhaps production had hoped, or maybe they're having a bad day. Just be forgiving. It's not your battle to fight, and be supportive of that actor. The day will come when you will need that support. You will need that someone to get that. But just be the best person. When I did Bone Collector, 25 years ago, 24 years ago, I worked with Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill memorized everybody's name on set, every crew member's name, and when he arrived, he would say good morning to everybody. If you're not an actor, you would probably know that. You probably don't know that regardless of the time of day, when your day starts on a project, you say good morning because it is your morning. So even if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you still say good morning to each other. And Ed would say good morning, and he would learn everyone's name. And if he didn't get someone's name right, or if he didn't know someone's name, he would stop and get their name. And the next day he'd come in and say it. And boy, I thought, here's a guy who doesn't have to do this. And he makes it a point, and he becomes extra memorable in the best possible way for that. And so let me back up and tell a story that I wasn't going to tell. And that is the last day that I was shooting on Heartland. I flew into Calgary. Usually the flight arrives there at 10 a.m. I usually sleep at 2 o'clock for a couple hours so that I'm good to go. And I go to bed at like 6 o'clock, usually in the next morning, 5:30 or 6 o'clock call time, which was the case my last day on set. I wasn't going to tell this story. And so that's fine. I arrived. I couldn't sleep. I spent my day walking around, tried everything, could not sleep. And I went and had dinner at 5 o'clock. And at 5:30, I got my call time. 5:30 the next morning, they were going to pick me up. And I had 3 full scenes that were completely rewritten. And so I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I know I've got to get to bed. I know I'm exhausted, but I got to learn completely. They completely changed these lines. They even flipped lines and gave the guy I was working with, Tim, they gave him a lot of my lines and gave me all brand new lines. I thought, oh my God. So I was worried about it. Anyway, I had dinner, went back to the hotel, set my phone. My charger wasn't long enough, put the phone on the bed beside me, went to sleep. 5:30 call time. Set my alarm to go off at like 4:30, so I get up and shower. And at 7:30 or 6:30 rather, I wake up and I look at the alarm and I go, hang on, it can't be 6:30 because maybe the time changed. What? No, I rolled over. The pillow covered my phone, and someone was pounding on the door. They were trying to get security in to open the door to get me out of bed to wake me up to get set. Transport was there. We were shooting an hour out of town. And I thought, oh my God. And they said, come on, they finally got in touch. I said, I'll be right out. And I said, no, come out now. I said, look, I got a shower. I just woke up. Give me 15 minutes. I'll see you down transport. Got showered. In 15 minutes, I was down there, and I apologized profusely. I've never, ever in my career, never been late for a shoot. Never, never missed anything. I'm always the guy who's there, and I'm there early. So I couldn't believe it. And that hour was a very, very long ride to set. And I thought, boy, I really cooked myself on this. I'm trying to leave a positive experience, a positive, reputation, a positive impact on the people I work with. And this happens. And now I'm shooting my 3rd episode. And I thought, oh man, I can't believe it. So I call Erin, my partner, and I say to her, this is what happened. And she said, oh my God, what are you going to do? And I said, I can't do anything. I'm going to say a little prayer. I'm going to say my apologies, and I'm going to hope that everything works out. And I've got to get out, and I've got to be as professional as possible. And I have to make sure that I'm delivering, I'm firing on all cylinders, and I'm going to focus right now on learning these lines. And that's what it's going to be. And I hung up the phone, and the driver put her hand back and said, hold my hand. I held her hand. She said a prayer, which really touched me. We got to set a little bit later, and I apologized to everybody, and everybody's like, what are you talking about? They wouldn't have been ready anyway. Now, look, you arrive an hour late on set, they would have been ready. But everybody was so gracious, and their concern became, you have all these new lines. Are you going to be okay with it? And I thought, yeah, don't you worry about that. I'm going to do everything that's in my control. And I didn't miss a line. I didn't miss a beat. The day was my greatest day on set, the best experience I ever had. And it taught me that I can rely on myself. It taught me that, things happen, that you got to be prepared. And it taught me, boy, everyone has a bad day. You better be prepared to support other people when they have theirs. So.
Yeah, that's a great story. What a horrible feeling. Yeah. You must have been mortified. Yeah.
I thought they were going to either write me out of the scenes or fire me.
Right. Yeah, and especially your reputation. Like Brennan and I know you working from shows, and call times are important, and you're always there when you need to be, and early too. But that's a great example of, like, yeah, what do you do when you do fuck up, and how do you recover from that gracefully and professionally without, like, some people make that even a bigger deal, where maybe if all day you kept continually apologizing, then you let it get in your head, and then you were apologizing on set, and it fucked up the scenes and all that stuff, then it would have been like, oh my God, this Peter guy.
Exactly. And we've all been with actors who come to set with a story. I didn't sleep last night. Right. Oh, I'm not feeling well. Or it's like a precursor for the terrible acting that they're about to deliver. And they don't see it that way. They think, oh yeah, I've covered all the bases. But you never ever want to have an excuse. You want to make sure that your work speaks for itself, and you want to make sure that you don't slink away. You don't try to blame somebody else. You don't hand off an excuse. And I just thought, I've got to face the music here. And the first thing I did when I went right to production, I said, I am so sorry. I have no excuse for you. This has never happened, and I hope you forgive me. They're like, oh yeah, which is the right thing for them to do, frankly, because had they come down on me, I would have had an absolute terrible day. It would have been really a miserable experience. So it all completely worked out. But it's just another reason why I really love the Heartland folks a lot. And it's just been a great experience.